She gave up on life, but waking in the human's bed gave her hope. HFY Sci-Fi. She came for data. He gave her desire. Dr. Elena Vex was not easily distracted. She had spent 14 Earth years cataloging reproductive systems across 12 star systems without once letting emotion cloud her judgment. Her people, the Xerelians, saw sex as a mechanical process, scheduled, assigned, and about as romantic as filing taxes. There was no touching for pleasure, no kissing, no affection, just duty and data. So when she was assigned to Earth, she thought it would be just another job, another strange species, another round of biological measurements, hormone-level charts, and a pile of boring reports to send back to the council. She didn't expect Logan Hart. Her first impression of him was unimpressive, unshaven, sarcastic, and always drinking coffee as if it were a survival serum. He was a retired military man turned xenolinguist, tasked with translating her logs and assisting in cultural integration. Basically, her babysitter. But then came the shower incident. She'd been trying to locate a missing sample scanner. Logan's home, where she was staying during the cultural immersion phase, was full of confusing compartments and doors with no markings. She walked through the wrong one, and there he was, fresh out of the shower, naked, dripping. She froze. Logan didn't. "Morning, Doc," he said casually. Toweling his hair like standing in full glorious view was a normal part of human diplomacy. Elena blinked twice. Her internal data analysis system kicked in. Muscular symmetry, above average. Limb proportions, ideal. External genital size, significantly larger than Xerelian male baseline. She blinked again. Her neural cortex flagged the situation as an urgent anomaly. She backed out of the room with the grace of a stunned insect. That night, she submitted a 2,000-word report labeled Unexpected Secondary Sexual Characteristics in Human Males, Subject L. Hart. She ended it with a personal note. Further, observation is warranted. The next morning, Logan was making eggs in the kitchen shirtless again. "I'm not sure how you Xerelians do breakfast," he said with a grin. "But here we like it hot, messy, and slightly overcooked." She stared at the eggs like they were alien parasites. "Why do you eat chicken embryos?" He chuckled. "To build strong bones and confuse aliens." Elena didn't laugh. Xerelians didn't laugh. But something tugged at her insides. Days passed. She tried to focus on her work. She set up scanning equipment, reviewed hormone samples, and studied Earth's strange obsession with long walks and candlelit dinners. She downloaded romantic movies from Logan's media library, purely for research, of course, and found herself strangely affected when the human actors kissed. Their mouths moved with intent, and their bodies reacted with heat, emotion, and need. It made no logical sense. Xerelian reproductive bonding didn't involve this level of emotional feedback. Yet here she was, pausing the screen, rewinding, trying to understand why she felt warm. One night, she was running simulations on human pheromone responses. Logan entered the room wearing only loose sleep pants, the glow from her holo display casting a silver sheen on his chest. "You know," he said, "for someone studying mating behavior, you sure haven't asked me any questions." She looked up, startled. "You are not a suitable subject. Your genome is incompatible with the required parameters for baseline sampling." He raised an eyebrow. "Is that science talk for I'm too handsome for your charts?" She stared at him. "No. It means your testosterone levels are elevated, your body fat is low, and your genitalia exceeds Xerelian norms for safe insertion." There was a pause. Then Logan laughed, deep, loud, and utterly human. "Well, Doc," he said, stepping closer, "I've been called a lot of things. That one's new." Elena stood up. Her eyes flickered violet, a subconscious biological reaction she couldn't control. Her breath caught. Her glands were releasing bonding chemicals unprompted. "This shouldn't be happening. I am experiencing anomalies," she admitted. Logan reached out gently, brushing a strand of her silvery hair from her face. "Maybe it's not an anomaly," he said. "Maybe it's just connection." Alina hesitated. Then, almost mechanically, she leaned forward and kissed him. It was clumsy, strange, beautiful. Her body reacted instantly. Heat flooded her skin, her symbiotic nerves lighting up with pulses of pleasure she had no frame of reference for. Her hands trembled as she touched his bare skin, warm, rough, alive. Logan pulled her close, and for once she didn't think about the report, the mission, or the council. She thought only of him. Her world was data, but this was something different, something wild, illogical, terrifying. And she wanted more. Logan lifted her easily, carrying her toward the bedroom. "Still just research, Doc?" he whispered against her throat. She answered in perfect, breathless monotone. "This experiment requires multiple replicates, for accuracy." Logan Hart was not a man who usually second-guessed himself. Years in military black ops, followed by a career decoding alien syntax, had given him nerves of steel and the patience of a monk, most of the time. But right now, with a glowing alien woman clinging to his shoulders, kissing like her life depended on it, and muttering scientific terms while her 6 fingers explored parts of him that hadn't been academically charted? Yeah, he was starting to feel a little out of his depth. Elina Vex was discovering things too. Strange, forbidden things. The sensation of touch. Real touch. Not the kind you did in sterile bonding chambers with a chart overhead and a clock ticking. No, this was organic, chaotic. Every time her skin brushed his, her bioluminescent veins flared like constellations. She was sure her onboard medical monitors were screaming into the ether, but she didn't care. His lips moved along her neck, her knees buckled. Is this part of standard human precoital behavior?" she whispered, her voice hitching. Logan pulled back just enough to give her one of his signature half-smiles. "Only if we're doing it right." He gently placed her on the bed, and Alina blinked up at him like a data terminal caught in a power surge. She watched him strip away the last of his clothing, muscles shifting beneath his skin in ways her species didn't even possess. She scanned his body with her eyes. "You are disproportionately built. I'll take that as a compliment." "I did not intend," she started, flustered. He leaned in, pressing his mouth to hers. "Shh, you overthink." Alina made a soft sound, half frustration, half surrender. That is true. What followed was unlike anything either of them expected. To her, human intimacy had been a curiosity, an anthropological side note, something to document and classify. But this was fire and electricity and gravity failing all at once. Every time his skin met hers, her nerve endings sparked like overloaded circuits. Her hips moved in rhythm without her command. Her breath stuttered. Her body betrayed every ounce of discipline she had cultivated over a lifetime of sterile logic. Her people had told her human males were chaotic, messy, irrational. They forgot to mention dangerously addictive. And Logan? He was discovering that alien skin wasn't just smooth, it was alive. Her body shifted shades of violet and silver depending on where he touched. When he kissed the inside of her thigh, she gasped, and the lights in the room flickered. Literally. Her bioenergy was interfering with the power grid. "Damn, Doc," he whispered. "You're gonna short-circuit my house." "I appear to have activated secondary glandular emission," she gasped. "It's unprecedented." He chuckled, lips still against her skin. "Good. Let's break some records." What should have been awkward, alien anatomy, strange pheromones, her tendency to quote research papers mid-moan, became something else. Something honest, human, and not just physically. Afterward, they lay tangled in the sheets, Alina's hair glowing softly against his chest. "I have violated 7 interspecies research protocols," she murmured. Logan brushed his fingers over her arm. "I've violated like 3 space laws just bringing you wine." She smiled. "A real one." the first she'd ever made. It made her look almost human. "Your species feels deeply," she said quietly. I believed that to be a weakness. And now, I believe I was wrong. They lay in silence for a while. The air was heavy with the scent of ozone, sweat, and whatever strange pheromones she'd been leaking all night. Then she turned, propping herself up with her elbow. Her expression was half curiosity, half wonder. "I would like to do that again." He grinned. "Already?" She frowned. Was there a required recharge period? He laughed so hard he nearly fell off the bed. "God, I love science, aliens." She looked confused. That sounded complimentary. It was. Elena tilted her head. "Logan, what happens now?" He considered that. "I don't know," he said honestly. "You're probably going to be recalled. Your people aren't exactly known for their progressive views on human-alien relations. Correct? I may be arrested for unauthorized bonding." "So?" He shrugged. "We run?" She blinked. "You would flee with me?" He reached out and cupped her cheek, thumb brushing the edge of a still glowing vein. "Doc, you kissed me before you understood kissing. You screamed my name like you invented it, and you shorted out my bedroom lights with an orgasm." She swallowed. There's no going back from that. Her heart, or whatever the Zarelians had in its place, pounded wildly. "For the record," she whispered, "this may not have been entirely for research." Logan leaned in close, their lips brushing again. "Yeah, me neither. They didn't sleep much that night. Some things were too good for science." By the third week, Dr. Elena Vex had stopped logging daily hormonal fluctuations and started secretly recording Logan's laughter patterns instead. Her official report remained untouched. Her data entries, once so detailed, had become vague, to the point of scandal. Subject continues displaying elevated endorphin response to prolonged physical contact. Was the closest she'd come to admitting. She couldn't stop thinking about how his fingertips felt tracing the bioluminescent lines of her spine. And Logan? He was in deeper than he liked to admit. The way she sat cross-legged in his chair at 2 a.m., whispering into her translator as she parsed human poetry, actual poetry, should have made him cringe. Instead, it made his chest feel weirdly full. "You ever gonna send that report back? To your space lords?" He asked one night as they lay sprawled on the couch, her head in his lap and a half-eaten bag of Earth snacks between them. "They are not lords," Elena replied. "They are elected administrators with limited term lengths and a strict no-pants dress code during council sessions." Logan blinked. "Okay, I didn't expect the no-pants part." "I did not expect you," she replied softly, looking up at him. "And now I cannot imagine reporting you as merely a specimen." He froze. The word hit him like a cold slap. "Specimen?" She winced. "That was poorly phrased. I meant biologically, intriguing life form with improbable mating endurance." He smirked. "Better." But her face stayed serious. "I am changing," she said. "Zarelians do not change, not like this. We are selected, designed, purposed. Like furniture? Worse," she said. "Furniture does not get decommissioned if it grows feelings." That stopped him cold. "You saying your people would punish you just for what? Feeling things?" She nodded slowly. "They already suspect. My biofeedback readings have been flagged. I've ignored multiple requests to recalibrate." Logan's jaw tightened. "So what happens if they find out what's really going on?" "I will be reassigned. Mind wiped if necessary." He sat up, her head slipping from his lap. "Wait, mind wiped? Like full reset?" "Yes, it has been done before. They call it behavioral realignment therapy." He stood, running a hand through his hair. "And they think humans are the dangerous ones." Elena watched him carefully. "You are upset." "No, shut, Doc. You finally let yourself feel and now some bureaucratic biopurity squad wants to erase it like a typo?" He paced, the tension in his shoulders building. "You're not a science project anymore. You're you. You laugh now. You steal my t-shirts. You hum that dumb pop song in the shower. Badly, by the way. I do not hum, she said, a little too fast. You do. And you smile when you think I'm not looking. And your eyes, when you look at me like I'm the only thing worth orbiting in this whole damn galaxy. He stopped. So no, I'm not okay with them taking that away. Silence hung between them, thick and fragile. Finally, Elena rose. Slowly, deliberately, her glow dimmed to a deep silver hue, a Zarelian sign of intimacy and vulnerability. There is one way, she said, an ancient rite, barely acknowledged anymore, forbidden to use on non-Zarelians. What is it? Logan asked. Bond fusion. He blinked. That sounds serious, and also like something that belongs in an adult video store. It is irreversible, she said. If we perform it, our neural pathways will imprint on each other. No reset can undo it. I would no longer belong fully to Zarelia. She stepped closer. I would belong with you. Logan swallowed hard. And what about me? You would never be the same. Zarelian physiology will alter you. Your biology, your mind, your capacity for intimacy. So I'd get glowing veins and mood swings? You would gain more than that. Heightened senses, deeper empathy, and a permanent connection to me. He looked at her. This strange, brilliant, glowing alien woman who quoted sex statistics in bed and burned cookies with genuine pride, and realized there wasn't a single part of her he didn't want more of. I'm in, he said. Elena's breath caught. Just like that, I fought 3 wars, Logan said, stepping into her space. But I've never fought for anything until now. She closed the gap between them. Then brace yourself, Logan Hart. You are about to become the first human in history to fuse with a Zarelian. His brow quirked. Do I need to sign something? She smiled. Just lie down and try not to scream too loud. The lights dimmed. The bond began, and somewhere deep in space, a Zarelian alert siren started flashing red. The fusion didn't feel like magic. It felt like truth. Logan lay flat on the bedroom floor, surrounded by pulsing light. Elena stood over him, her fingers interlaced with his. Her skin radiated like moonlight liquefied, veins flickering with data pulses that weren't just electric, but emotional. Do not resist, she whispered, voice barely above a breath. Your mind will feel open, unprotected. But I will be there. Good, Logan murmured, eyes locked on hers. You're the only one I trust to break into my head. Her 6th finger traced a glowing line across his chest, directly over his heart. That's where she started. Elena leaned, pressing her forehead against his. In that moment, the bond initiated. A wave of sensation crashed over both of them. Logan gasped, not in pain. Not exactly. It was everything. At once. Memories unraveled like old film reels. Her first breath on her birth world, taken in a sterile chamber under blue starlight. The texture of the synthetic silk she wore at age 5. The first time she touched liquid water on Earth and thought, this is chaos. Beautiful, undirected chaos. And then, him. The night he kissed her wrist. The warmth of his body in bed. The stupid jokes. The smell of his skin after a shower. He felt her seeing him, and he saw her too. Not just her memories. Her intention, her loneliness, her bravery, her slow, terrifying surrender to something her species had no word for. And just like that, the bond locked. Their bodies glowed in synchronized patterns. Her heartbeat aligned with his. Her breath matched his rhythm. The floor beneath them flickered with residual energy, enough to trip every security scanner on 3 continents. Logan sat up first, chest heaving. That was... I know, Elena said, her voice shaky. I have never felt anything like it. We are fused. You're in my head, he said, eyes wide. I can feel it, like you're right there. Not just thinking, feeling. I sense you too, she whispered. You are louder than I expected. He laughed, still dazed. Yeah, I get that a lot. But then the smile faded. A burst of static hit the air. A high-pitched ping, followed by a red symbol flashing across her embedded wrist monitor. Elena stiffened. The council knows. Logan's grin vanished. They tracked the bond? She nodded slowly. Bond fusion sends out a signature, coded but not undetectable, especially when one participant is not Xerelian. What happens now? She turned to face him, eyes serious and dark with worry. They will come for me. They always do when someone fuses without clearance. And me? They'll mark you. Compromised. Contaminated. Her jaw clenched. They'll attempt to separate us. One way or another. Logan stood up, cracked his neck, and muttered, Well, they're welcome to try. Elena stared at him. You do not understand. The Xerelians do not ask, they do not negotiate, they cleanse. He grabbed her hand, now slightly warmer to the touch, almost earth-human. Then we run. Her mouth opened, but nothing came out. She looked down at their joined fingers. I don't even know where we'd go, she said softly. Logan tapped his temple. We've got one brain between us now, remember? I'm sure we'll think of something. She laughed, a real one, airy and strange. Then her smile disappeared again as her monitor beeped twice. They've dispatched a purity retrieval unit, she whispered. Estimated arrival 3 hours. He frowned. A what? A squad, she said. Genetically enhanced, cold, efficient. Their only purpose is to isolate rogue elements of our species that threaten Xerelian cohesion. I was taught they were a myth. Until now. Logan looked around the room, then straightened. Okay, new plan. We pack, we prep, and we get the hell off Earth. Elena hesitated. If I leave, I can never go back. My name will be erased from the archive. He stepped closer, placing a hand over her heart. Then you start over. With me. Do you mean that? Logan didn't blink. I fused with you, Doc. You're inside me now. Kinda rude to ghost me after all that. Her eyes shimmered, and she nodded. They packed fast. Logan's go bag, Elena's research module, a stolen diplomatic shuttle key code he'd acquired during his military days, just in case the world went to hell. Apparently it had. As they lifted off, the sky was already flashing with incoming Xerelian ships. Silent, sleek, judgment made of metal. They'll scan for energy signatures, she said, hands flying across the stolen shuttle's control pad. And when they find us, we fight, Logan said. Xerelians do not fight their own. He grinned. Humans do, especially for the people they love. Elena turned slowly toward him. You love me? He didn't hesitate. I do now. She didn't respond with words, she just kissed him and fired the thrusters. The stars stretched like silver scars as the shuttle broke atmosphere. Elena's fingers moved across the interface in a blur, muttering in both Xerelian and English. I've disabled our biosignatures. We'll be untraceable for about 40 minutes. Great, Logan muttered, strapping himself in and checking the weapon compartments. So just long enough for us to get somewhere and start dying tired. She shot him a look. I thought humans were supposed to be optimistic. He shrugged. I'm optimistic we'll go out swinging. The silence that followed wasn't peaceful. It was dense, filled with the unspoken truth they both felt clawing at the edges of their fused minds. They weren't just running, they were becoming. Elena glanced at him. Her pupils dilated from the after effects of the bond. I can feel your thoughts like echoes. Emotion before language. Yeah? Logan smirked. Feeling anything you like? Yes, she said plainly. Several things. Good, he replied. Means you're getting used to me, but she wasn't. Not really, because with each passing second she felt her identity bending. Not breaking, but reshaping. like a planet under a new gravity. Her logic still whispered warnings, but something deeper, stronger, kept whispering. Stay with him, stay herself. The fusion had changed them both. Logan could feel her now. Not just in the abstract. He felt her in his bones. Her worry like static behind his ribs. Her desire like a low hum along his spine. And when she looked at him, it wasn't alien anymore. It was real. But peace didn't last long. The console flared crimson. Xerelian warcraft approaching, 3 interceptors, high-speed pursuit vector. Logan cursed under his breath. How fast are they? They're Xerelians, she said. Fast enough. He hit the manual override. Then let's see if your fancy science ship can handle some good old-fashioned human dumbassery. Alina's eyes widened. What are you doing? He grinned, yanked the controls hard, and sent the shuttle into a spiral dive toward the rings of Saturn. You're taking us into the rings? Yup. That is a debris field of over 4 billion active fragments. Yup. That's suicidal. Logan barked a laugh. Only if you think logically, Elena would have argued. Should have by every protocol, but instead her mouth twitched. A small, stunned smile. Because as much as she hated to admit it, she was excited. She was feeling things that weren't charted. Thrill, fear, joy, lust, loyalty. They shot into the ring cloud, ice chunks bouncing off the deflectors. Behind them, the Xerelian interceptors paused, calculating. They won't follow, she said. Too dangerous. Logan leaned back, breathing hard. Then we bought ourselves time. Elena looked at him, her skin glowing a deep indigo. You're different. Humans feel so much, so fast. He gave her a tired smile. Yeah, we burn out quick, but we burn bright. She reached for his hand. If we escape, if we find a safe world, a place to land, what then? Logan shrugged. Then we do what everyone else does, Doc. We build something. Build what? He turned to face her fully. A home, a life, maybe a family. Her expression faltered, as if he'd spoken a word her species had no translation for. I do not understand how that would even work. He grinned. Then, we experiment, for science. She blinked, caught between confusion and something much deeper. You'd raise offspring with me? She asked. Sure, Logan said. Like it wasn't the most world-shattering thing he'd ever said. We'll figure it out. They'll probably glow in the dark and speak fluent sarcasm. Her voice dropped to a whisper. You really would change everything, just to stay with me? He leaned forward, their foreheads touching again. I already did. Before either of them could say more, the console beeped again. This time, not a threat, a broadcast, a Xerelian council transmission, wideband. Meant for her. Elena Vex, you have violated Directive 9. Your fusion with a human subject has been deemed a Class 1 genetic contamination. Surrender yourself immediately or face permanent excommunication from the collective. She froze. The words weren't just official. They were final. She was being erased, not killed, unmade. Her research stripped, her name wiped, her memory replaced. With compliant silence, Logan's voice was low, steady. Your choice, Doc. We can go back. I'll fight him with my fists if I have to. Or we keep going, and we live our own way. She looked at him, this ridiculous, infuriating, protective human, and saw something her people had never taught her to see. Freedom. She stood tall, her voice calm. Council of Xerelia, she said, staring into the transmission feed. My name is Dr. Elena Vex. I resign. Effective now. The console went silent. Logan whistled. You just quit the entire species. I chose something better, she said, turning to him. Us. They set course for the edge of explored space. Together, glowing, like stars. They flew until the maps ended. The nav system stuttered. The autopilot blinked. Beyond them lay the uncharted zone, a vast stretch of space no probe had returned from and no species dared to colonize. Logan Hart leaned back in the pilot's chair, boots propped against the console, staring into the endless dark. So, no Starbucks out here, huh? Elena didn't answer immediately. She stood at the viewport, bathed in the soft pulse of the ship's emergency ambient lighting, her glow dimmed to a calm, warm lilac. No corporations, no patrols, no rules, she said. It's oddly comforting. Logan watched her in silence for a moment. She wasn't the same woman who'd landed on his farm 3 weeks ago. Her voice was softer now, but her presence had grown louder, bolder. She didn't just observe anymore, she felt. She joked. She wanted. And sometimes when she thought he wasn't looking, she smiled at absolutely nothing at all. But the changes went both ways. Logan's dreams had shifted too. He used to wake in cold sweats, combat memories snarling behind his eyes. Now he woke to a warm body curled against him, to whisperings in Zarelian, to the strange comfort of knowing someone was inside his thoughts, and not judging what she saw. He didn't feel haunted anymore. He felt held. Got a ping, he muttered, breaking the silence. Faint signal. Planetary body, Class M, breathable atmosphere, high gravity but livable. Elena approached, studying the scan. Flora, fauna, possibly geothermal water systems. She looked up. No signs of advanced life. Perfect, Logan said. Nobody around to ask if we're supposed to be together. She paused. You still question that? Not really, he admitted. But I like the idea of a place where no one can question us. They descended through a hazy atmosphere, thick with gold-tinged clouds and electrical interference. The ship bucked, hard. Elena gripped the console. Stabilizers offline. Good thing I passed the land during a lightning storm test back in flight school, Logan said, jaw tight. With a bone-rattling thud, the shuttle broke through the worst of the turbulence and touched down on a plateau overlooking a deep valley, lush, glowing, and buzzing faintly with unknown life. When the silence returned, Elena exhaled. That could have gone worse. Logan unbuckled. Could have gone better too. I lost my favorite mug. She smiled. I'll replicate you a new one, eventually. They stepped outside together. The air was thick but sweet. Alien birds sang somewhere beyond the mist. Plants moved as if aware of their presence. The wind was warm, almost sentient. It's alive, Elena whispered. The planet feels awake. You think it's dangerous? Logan asked. Elena glanced sideways. Everything's dangerous when you care about it. He looked at her then. Not like a joke, not like a friend, but like a man staring at the only thing that made the universe make sense. I could live here, he said. I think we already are, she replied softly. For 3 days, they explored, built shelter, started turning salvage from the ship into long-term systems. Elena even repurposed a broken analysis scanner into what Logan proudly called their coffee maker, even though it produced something between soup and sludge. They ate bathed in natural hot springs and, despite the odds, laughed. They made love often with abandon and curiosity. Elena's body adapted faster now, bonding with him on cellular levels her people hadn't even studied. Her bioluminescence flared strongest during intimacy, marking Logan's skin with temporary glowing patterns, a living tattoo of connection. It's like I wear you after, he joked once. Good, she'd whispered against his chest. You're mine, but peace never lasts forever. On the 4th night, as they lay tangled in a hammock of vines under the stars, the sky pulsed once. A glowing blue shard streaked overhead. Logan sat up, frowning. That wasn't a meteor. Elena's eyes flared green. No, that was a scanner probe. His heart sank. They found us? Not them, she said, standing quickly. Someone else. Logan grabbed his weapon. Another species? Possibly, she said. Or a remnant AI. Maybe even a rogue human deep scout. He looked at her. We can run again. Elena didn't move. No, she said finally. I'm tired of running. Logan hesitated. So what? Stand and fight." She turned to him, eyes glowing, voice like thunder wrapped in silk. "No, we warn them." "Warn who?" "Anyone who thinks they can take this from us." She stepped forward, linking her fingers with his. "This isn't just about escape anymore," she said. "This is ours now. Our place. Our future." He squeezed her hand. "Then they'd better be ready," Logan said. "Because I'll burn the sky for you." Their bond shimmered between them, flaring like a beacon. Somewhere far above, other ships began to stir, and the lovers prepared to defend their world. They didn't come in peace. 3 days after the probe, the sky broke open like a wound. Not Zarelian ships, not human scouts. Something older, vessels black as obsidian, angular, humming with an energy that didn't register on either of their scanners. Not artificial, not natural, somewhere in between, like machines built by gods who got bored and never came back. "They're not broadcasting," Logan said, checking the comms. No pings, no language, no warning. Elena's skin dimmed to a protective matte gray. "This isn't a patrol, this is a harvest." They watched from their valley outpost as the ships descended silently, hovering above the river, the cliffs, the sky itself. Logan felt the air change. He could taste it. Metal, ash, and something wrong. "They're scanning," Elena said, trembling slightly. "Not for tech, for life." "They're looking for us," he said. "No," she whispered. "They're looking for anything that resists." The two of them stood alone. One human, one Zarelian hybrid. No backup, no fleet, no allies. But they weren't afraid. Logan turned, opened the weapons cache he'd buried under a false patch of moss. His old plasma rifle, 2 explosive charges, a fusion coil he never got around to scrapping. Elena stepped forward, placing her hands over the fusion coil. Her fingers lit up, her skin glowing brighter than it ever had. "What are you doing?" Logan asked. "Changing it," she said. "I'm not just Zarelian anymore. The bond, our bond, it gave me access to something new." The coil pulsed, then purred. She turned, her body outlined in light. "Logan, if I amplify this, I can send out a blast wave, a signal, something primal, something that tells them this place is claimed." "You think they'll care?" She smiled. "They will feel it, and they will know." He looked at her like he always had, like she was the universe wrapped in skin, and placed his hand over hers. "Let's tell them." Together, they activated the device. The signal didn't scream. It sang. A harmonic shockwave tore through the air, radiating outward in an unseen sphere. It hit the ships in orbit like a thunderclap of will, of presence, of rage and love combined. And they hesitated. They didn't fire, they hovered watching. Then slowly they left, not in fear, not in defeat, but in recognition, the same way a predator acknowledges another predator's territory, the same way an old god nods to a new one. Silence returned, and in that silence, something bloomed. Months passed. Their valley became a home, not just a hiding place. They cultivated, built, rewired pieces of their crashed shuttle into energy collectors and weather stabilizers. Elena created a biodome with native and off-world flora. Logan constructed a tower from repurposed hull plating, carved with symbols only they understood. They were no longer fugitives, they were founders. One morning, as the sun cast golden mist through the trees, Elena emerged from their dwelling, barefoot and flushed. "Logan," she called softly. He was already in the garden repairing a solar array. He looked up, wiped his brow, and smiled. She was glowing, but not just from light. He blinked, then slowly stood. "Is that—" She nodded, hands on her stomach. A hybrid, healthy, developing fast. He walked to her, heart pounding. "I didn't think it was possible." She grinned. "It shouldn't be, but apparently your species is unusually persistent." He laughed, loud and bright. "That's what they always say about us." They sat together under the tree they'd planted on their second day. Now, taller than Logan with bark that shimmered in moonlight and leaves that whispered. They watched the valley in silence, the sky wide above them. Elena rested her head on his shoulder. "What do you think they'll be?" "Our kid?" Logan asked. She nodded. He thought about it. The strength of Zarelian science, the resilience of human emotion, the defiance of two souls who dared to love across galaxies. He kissed her temple and whispered, "Whatever they want." Years later, passing traders would tell strange stories about a world hidden beyond the edge of known space. A glowing woman who healed wounds with her voice. A grinning human who could outdrink pirates and speak forgotten languages. And their children, fast, curious, strong, bioluminescent beings with sharp minds and wild hearts. The world was marked on no map, but the story spread, a place forged not by war, but by love. And at the heart of it all, the truth whispered in every HFY tavern and DataNet forum. She came for Data. He gave her desire. Together they created a legend. The end.